The guy that was in the draft not too long ago, we didn't draft him, we traded for him, but we kind of pretend that we drafted him because we traded for him.
We really liked him in the draft. We didn't take him, but we really liked him.
Toumani Camara was recognized yesterday. He made second team all NBA defense.
He did.
How about that? He is the 9th trailblazer in franchise history to earn all defensive honors. He had 6 votes for first team, and he received obviously 62 for the second team. The first team all defense was Evan Mobley, Draymond Green, Dyson Daniels of the Hawks, Lou Dort, and Amen Thompson from the Rockets. The second team included Rudy Gobert, Jaren Jackson Jr., Triple J as they call him in the streets, Oklahoma City Thunder, Jalen Williams, the EN, not the IN.
The EN.
And Zubac, along with, obviously, Toumani Camara.
It's really cool, man. I saw this yesterday. It was nice that he got respected for the season that he had defensively.
He definitely earned it, yeah.
And I think the only fear in the back of your mind was, did anybody pay attention to the Blazers this year? Like, how many people didn't watch them? They weren't on national television. So at times they were an out of sight, out of mind, irrelevant team. I know they were better this year than they've been in years past. That meant winning 36 games. So let's not sit here and act like that's a story around the league that everybody's paying attention to. So nice that the voters paid attention enough and listened to what different players said around the league about having to go against him and how skilled he was. Maybe we talked about this during the season and asked it aloud. When was the last time we had a guy? I genuinely was curious because I saw that he made the team, and then I just.
I was going to ask you because you know the last Blazer to
well,
make the offensive
I did because
team.
I went and looked it up yesterday, and I was like, "Have we had one in the last 10 years?"
Okay, Swag, do you know
Swag,
the answer
it's
to
in
this
his
question?
update today.
He's
been saying it in his update all day, so the entire audience knows too. So it ruins the entire.
Just making sure you're on your toes. You know what I mean? I definitely heard that update.
The Rattler,
The Rattler.
Theo Ratliff was the last time we had one.
04.
So it's been over 20 years since we've had an all-defensive player.
That's a long time.
That is a very long time.
Now, you know what's weird is you say, like, I don't know how many people paid attention to our team. They were below 40 wins. You know, they had a nice little rebound season for themselves.
I think they had one nationally televised game all year, if I'm not mistaken.
It was the Dame game.
It was the Dame Bucks game.
I don't think they paid attention a lot, but what's funny is it feels like noise-wise, Avdia got most of the conversation because of his production.
Yeah, he had some great games down the stretch.
But I think around the league, I saw a random, you know how they get those NBA Central, Centel, like they aggregate stuff?
Yeah.
I'd have to go find the story. I meant to dive in, but I didn't. Jovan Bruja, I think he covers the Lakers. He's an LA-based guy.
Mm-hmm.
They took a blurb out of one of his, and I don't even know half of these if they're true. They always exaggerate.
Let's get ball sacked anyways.
But it was basically something in the effect of the Blazers would demand 2 firsts for Toumani. And I'm just thinking, like, why would you trade him?
We're trading Toumani Kamara?
I don't think they are. I don't even think that's a consideration because what else would you be pointing to
Do we
right
have a
now?
new Jason McIntyre on our hands? Are we going Rui Hachimura and a second-round pick for Damian Lillard? Is that what you're telling me?
Let's not suggest that.
Let's
just
run with
pretend that he just threw out, like, hypothetically the Blazers would want this. I think because it was a Laker-based story, and he's like, they probably would say no to a first and Dalton Connect. And it's like, yeah, we would.
Yeah. What did I throw Bronny in there? Now we got a trade. Now we got a deal.
Then we got an owner and LeBron coming over to watch his kid.
He can own the team. He's going to play for us. It's a whole thing, man. Now LeBron's the king here.
Just saying. If LeBron can't get that Vegas team, I'd be pretty open to him being the owner.
I'd be all for him being the owner of the team.
Be him
he
in a big
controls
group.
the NBA. I'm all for it. He's clutch. It
didn't go well for Michael. Michael wasn't a very good owner in Charlotte.
That's true, but he didn't have an agency behind him as well on top of it, and LeBron has to have, he happens to have that. It's crazy that it's been 20-plus years. It was a fun walk down memory lane. The other guys that made all defensive teams, so Theo Ratliff was the last one. Scottie Pippen did it. Buck Williams. I mean, that's like basically what you're talking since 1990.
We've only had 9 of these guys, ever.
Yeah, Kermit Washington, and then you're way back to Maurice Lucas, Lionel Hollins, Bill Walton, and Bobby Gross.
Can I ask you guys this? Usually when you make these award lists, now some guys become specialists, right? Like Lou Dort, you think defensive specialist.
He's got a lot of talent around him that just, hey, if you hit an open 3, that's great, but go be locked down on that end of the floor.
He is the definition of a 3-and-D guy,
yes.
right? Toumani is kind of that right now. But when you make these lists, your name is more in the front of people's minds, especially when they're covering a team that plays Portland. When you think Toumani Camara, do you think can reach an all-star level?
I do not.
You do not. You think
do
it's
not.
mainly going to be 3 and
I hope
D?
I'm wrong on that. I do. You have to have a level of consistency on the offensive end of the floor.
He can shoot the 3.
He can, and he had a very good year, as your stats would tell us. He
took a jump.
He took a major jump this year shooting the 3-point ball.
His ability to make an all-star team will be based on the team success. He's a guy that if Portland ever gets to being,
like
first
if they're
or
in that
second,
6-7 range, and
because
he's
you
averaging 20.
go back to the Blazer teams of the in the 80s and 90s. The first one, Drexler, Porter, like Porter and Kersey. You'll see Duckworth even made an all-star team. That's when they were winning 60 games or whatever. Drexler was the all-star. He was going to be an all-star every year.
Yes.
But when Portland won 63 games one season, that's when you saw the other guys. So if Portland's ever able, with Toumani Camara, to have a 60-win season, he's a guy that could be a second all-star.
It's 11-5, by the way.
We're winning 60 games now in a year.
Well, no, but I think to this point, like if they have a year where they
I just think the
Houston
All-Star
rocket
game's
it,
a lot different. I think the All-Star game's a lot different. I think back then it probably was that way. Now it's more of a popularity contest. And I know the coaches have a say and you can add
they
players
voted
and
for
all
the
that.
starters back then.
Sure, but I think the reserves, I just think the voting was a little bit
the
different.
Atlanta
probably.
Hawks a couple years ago did what he's saying. They had that great year and they got 4 dudes in, and it was like, should Teague be
The Eastern
in this?
Conference also sucks. So there's that on top of it as well.
You don't got to poo-poo us.
I just think, like,
saying,
for a guy, he's averaging 11 points per game.
I know.
He took a big jump offensively from year 1 to year 2, but that was 7.5 to 11.5. He's 25 years old. So, like, where do we see the ceiling of his offensive game? Do you see him doubling up his offensive production?
doubling would be tough, but
That'd
maybe
be
If
tough.
you're going to get to
17.
20
But he
points per
could
game,
get-
you got to double your
He
offensive
could get
production.
to 16, 17 a game.
And that's not an all-star.
No.
You're not averaging 16
No,
points
but
per
if
game
he's
and being a good
averaging
defender
12
and being an all-star.
rebounds a game and he's had a couple, now let's say
He
his
averaged
defense,
5 rebounds a game. So now
I'm
he's
saying if he
tripling his
gets-
rebound total too.
I mean, he's probably more likely a Lou Dort of
Yeah.
just in your mind a 3-and-D guy who maybe he has a game or two, but largely isn't relied upon as the go-to option there. But I mean, we've said this before too, but like the thing about that team is I don't know where they're going to go in the draft. I am excited for it despite where they're at picking. Those are the only 2 players they have to point to right now, this regime.
That's what they got.
I mean, you can point to Klingon, and I would say, okay, that's all right, totally get you, but it's year 1.
Yeah.
And it was kind of a mixed bag, I thought. You made second team all rookie, but that doesn't...
It wasn't a great rookie class.
It wasn't an amazing rookie class, so, we'll wait and see. I hope he can take a step sincerely, but right now as a regime, all they have to point to are those 2 players.
Yeah, I mean, look, if this ends up being the guy that you can lean on offensively, then you have found an absolute gem. I think you're okay if he's just an elite defender, which he clearly is. He deserved to be second team All-NBA, but next year will be fascinating for not only him, but the entire organization, because they're telling us we might have our star on our team. So is that Denny Avdia after the end of the year that he had? Is he going to get off to a better start? Is it Kamara, who all of a sudden goes from 11 points to 16 points per game next year? And then you're saying, man, if he can go from 7 to 11 to 15 or 16, then maybe being a 20-point per game scorer is a realistic thought for him. But just watching the growth from a couple of these guys, and I think you're at the end of your runway with Shaden and figuring out kind of what he is. You got one more year to go out and prove it, and we'll see what they do with the extension this offseason.
The thing about Avdia, and I'm fascinated to see where he goes next year, because you talk about age. He is still young-ish, but this is going to be...
He's got a great contract, too.
Yeah, it goes down. It's going to be a 6th season.
Yes.
Largely, those players don't take like some massive, crazy leap. And I've said this before, and I'll say it again. As high on him as you are and as happy as we are to have him because he's a good player, go look at his numbers from this year to last year.
They're almost identical.
It's like he had a stretch, and so I think that stretch kind of clouds people's thoughts of what he did from his last year in Washington to this year. His three-point percentage was worse. His field goal percentage was worse, though volume is a little more up.
Yeah.
2-point percentage, effective field, all that's like his numbers just largely... He improved points per game.
He got off to a horrible start and was awesome in the back end of the year.
But his rebounds, his assists, there's nothing that largely changed from the year prior at Washington to this season.
So can he take what he did at the end of the year to this year? Or to next year, I should say?
I honestly don't know how big a leap that is. Is all I'm saying. So Toumani Camara, second team All-NBA defensive team. He is the 9th Blazer to make it, and the first since Theo Ratliff did it in 2004.